Welcoming Herb to the Hall of Fame is Dr. Jack Ramsey from the class of 1992. Ladies and gentlemen, Herb Magee.
Thank you very much. You would have to ask all the Hall of Famers in the group to stand up just before I got up here. I'm looking around and I see Bill Walton, Elgin Baylor. I mean, come on, Herb Magee. So I made a question today. I said to somebody, now this is really the Hall of Fame where Paul Arizin is and Wilt Chamberlain and Tom Gola? And they said, yeah, that's it, Herb. I said, well, it's hard to believe. It's just hard to believe. And for me to stand up here with Jack Ramsey as my presenter is truly one of the great honors I've ever had in my life. I was fortunate enough to go to West Catholic High School in Philadelphia, probably one of the finest high schools in the country. The Christian Brothers instilled in me a lot of the values I maintained throughout my life. At that time, the only thing I ever wanted to do was just make the team at West Catholic. Because where I grew up in West Philly, if you were on the West Catholic team, it didn't matter if you played or not, you were a player. You could play in the playgrounds, you could go any place, and people would say, that guy's on West Catholic's team. And when I got there and I met Jim Lynam and the late great Jim Boyle, we became longtime friends and remain to this day. While we were at West Catholic, everybody wanted to go to St. Joe's University because of Coach Ramsey. If Coach Ramsey recognized you and came to one of your games and offered you a scholarship, you would be at 54th and City Line the next day, praying to just say, please take me. Well, Jack, every time I see Jack, I make him tell this story that when he came to a game, he was told to look and recruit Jim Lynam and Jim Boyle. So when our coach, Jack Devine, brought Jim Lynam and Jim Boyle into the room to meet Coach Ramsey, he said, no, you got the wrong guy. It's the other guy, and he meant me. And every time I see Jack, and anytime I see Jim Lynam, I make him tell the same exact story. So later on tonight, if you see Jack, he'll say, Herb asked me to tell you this story. Here's what happened. Now, he said to me earlier today, and he's many times, he said he wished he had recruited me. And I can tell you right now, Jack, everything has worked out great for me. Even though you didn't recruit me, I would have played for you in a second. As a young fella, I was orphaned at the age of 12. My mom died when I was 12 and my dad not much time later. So the greatest man in my life was my uncle, Reverend Edwin Gallagher, a Catholic priest who was my mom's brother. He was the chaplain of the Eastern State Penitentiary, and later on he became pastor at St. Michael's Church in North Philadelphia. Well, we were going to be divided up, my three brothers and myself, because we didn't have a mom or dad. And Uncle Edwin came in and said, no, the boys will stay together, and I will make them, I'm going to be their legal guardian. So here's a guy, a Catholic priest, never had a car, had his own parish after he left the penitentiary as a chaplain, and would come home 3 or 4 nights a week and take care of 4 boys. And we all were very successful in our careers. 2 of my brothers have passed. My one brother is here tonight, and I will talk about him in a little bit. So I go to West Catholic, and my uncle Bucky Harris, our coach, was smart enough to recruit my uncle. And my uncle came to me one day and said, Herb, you're going to go play for that Mr. Harris at Philadelphia Textile. So Jim Lynam and Jim Boyle are going to St. Joe's, and Herb Magee's going to go to the Philadelphia Textile Institute. That was the name of the school. So Jimmy thought I was being committed someplace when he heard Institute. But I got there and they changed the name to Philadelphia College of Textiles and Science. I went on to be the all-time leading scorer, and that record stood for about 30 years because a little while later they named me the coach, and anytime anybody got close to one of my records, I'd put his rear end on the bench. And Franny Dunphy and Phil Martelli know that's probably true. While there, we had to withstand the jokes every time we went into a tournament and the jokes about the school. At Philadelphia Textile, you not only had to earn your sweater, but you had to make it. We were said to be a close-knit team. On offense, we ran the weave. And when Jack McKinney left St. Joe's to become our coach one year, his mother was quoted in the paper as saying it was a shame her son had to leave a nice place like St. Joe's to take a job in a mill. But since then, the name changed and everything has worked out fine. It's a wonderful, wonderful place to go to school. We have a beautiful campus. We have a magnificent curriculum. And we have a new president, a guy who's here tonight. He's been there for the last 4 or 5 years. And when he came on board, he said to me, "Coach, you've got to get me to Springfield," because I was born and raised there. Well, tonight, Dr. Spinelli, you made it back to Springfield. So I'm very happy for you. Everybody here mentioned their family, and I will too, because without your family, you have nothing. My 2 brothers passed away. My one brother is here tonight with his wife, my brother Chaz. My brother Chaz was in the seminary for 10 years. He was ordained a priest, left the priesthood after about 5 years, married Denny, and has 2 wonderful children, my boy Brendan, and also his daughter Jamie. They're here tonight, and I'm very happy. Everybody in the world has people that they care about, but Chaz is my man. Everybody, guys that know that, when you say somebody's your man, you know exactly what they're talking about. Besides him here tonight, I have a number of other players and coaches that are here. My former assistants and players, the new coach at Penn State, Pat Chambers, the coach at Boston College, Steve Donahue. These all guys, Dave Duda from St. Joe's. All these guys started on our staff, and I'm really happy and proud that they're here tonight. We have a number of ex-players here, too many to mention. Now, my immediate family, I've been blessed with 4 women. My wife, Jerry, who's here tonight with her entire family, a very large family. Her father, Carmen, passed away a few years ago, and St. Joe's thought enough about Carmen to name the practice field, the practice court after him just a few years ago when they opened up the Hagan Arena right next to the Ramsey Center. My wife, Jerry, is the most wonderful woman and the most wonderful person I've ever known. My daughter, Eileen, who has given me 2 tremendous grandchildren who are here tonight. Katie, Tara, I'm telling you, she can shoot. So keep your eye open because she can shoot. And my granddaughter, Carly, who has promised me already, "Pop, when you get older, I'll take care of you because she's going to be an actress." So everything's working out terrific. I can retire anytime I want to. And then my daughter, Kay, who serves as director of all the stuff we do at our camps and clinics. She's our director of basketball operations, the chief fundraiser. And if anybody deserved to be up here with me and Coach Ramsey, it would be my daughter, Kay, because she worked tirelessly to get us to this situation. All these few days, it's really been a big thrill for me to meet Chris Mullen, a guy who I've admired for many years, to spend some time with Sat Sanders and Artis Gilmore. And I just wish I wouldn't stand next to those guys all the time because they're so much bigger than I am. So I'm glad they also invited Tara to join us in the committee on the Hall of Fame. The committee invited her so I could stand next to somebody who's close to my size. But this has been just a wonderful, wonderful time. I'm running out of time, and all I want to say to the committee and to John DeLeva is thank you. You've made me the happiest man in the world. Thanks very much.